Japan is making its military much stronger. This is the country's most important military change since World War II ended. This big shift is happening mainly on Japan's southern islands. These islands are called the Ryukyu or Nansei Islands. They form a long chain, stretching from Japan's mainland towards Taiwan. Okinawa and dozens of smaller islands are part of this important group. These southern islands are very important because of their location. The area around them is becoming more dangerous. China's military is growing quickly, with more ships and planes. Also, there are increasing problems about Taiwan, an island very close to Japan's islands. If a conflict happens over Taiwan, Japan's southern islands would be in a very risky spot and directly in the path of danger. Japanese Defense Minister Minoru Kihara said in early 2024 that Japan faces the most severe and complex security environment since World War II. Because of this, Japan is quickly making its defenses stronger on these strategic islands. It is adding new military bases and placing new weapons there, like long-range missiles. They are also adding more soldiers. This new military plan by Japan creates a big question for the whole region. Will these stronger defenses bring peace by stopping other countries from attacking, making the region safer? Or will these military actions make the area more tense and perhaps even start the very war they want to prevent? This chapter will look at these changes and the big questions they raise for Japan and its neighbors. 2. Japan's past. After World War II, Japan made an important promise. In 1947, the country adopted a new constitution. A key part of this was Article 9. This article said that Japan would not have a large army, navy, or air force. It meant Japan would never again start a war or use military force to solve international problems. The idea was to create lasting peace and ensure Japan would not be a threat to other nations. American officials helped write this part of the Constitution after the war. General Douglas MacArthur oversaw these changes, wanting Japan to be a completely disarmed nation. But the world soon changed. The Cold War began, and in 1950, the Korean War started. Because of these new threats, the United States, which had helped write Article 9, changed its mind. It wanted Japan to have some military power to protect itself. So in 1954, Japan created the Japan Self-Defense Forces, known as the JSDF. These forces were only for defending Japan, not for attacking other countries. This was a way to have an army while still following the spirit of Article 9. For many decades, Japan kept its military spending low. It often spent about 1% of its country's total money, called GDP, on defense. This was a clear sign of its promise to be a pacifist nation. However, the world has changed again in recent years. After Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, many countries began to spend more on their military. Japan decided to do the same. In 2022, Japan's leaders promised a big change. Prime Minister Kishida Fumio said Japan would increase its defense spending. By 2027, Japan plans to spend 2% of its GDP on its military. This is a big step for Japan. It shows a historic shift away from its past rules and a move to build a stronger military for self-defense in a more dangerous world. 3. A dangerous area. China's military is growing very fast. In the last 2 decades, China has greatly changed the security situation in the Western Pacific Ocean. China now possesses the biggest navy in the world. It has more than 370 ships and submarines. This number is far larger than Japan's maritime forces. This strong and growing military makes the area around Japan much more dangerous and unpredictable. Chinese military planes and ships are frequently seen near Japan's southern islands. These activities have increased dramatically year after year. For example, Chinese aircraft fly into Taiwan's Air Defense Identification Zone, or ADIZ, very often. In 2024 alone, they flew over 2,000 times. Many of these flights pass through the Miyako Strait, which is a critical waterway located between Japanese islands. This strait is one of China's main access routes to the wider Pacific Ocean. Chinese warships also regularly sail through the waters surrounding Japan's southwestern islands. They have been detected passing through the Osumi Strait, operating near Miyako Island, and conducting exercises east of Taiwan. These areas are all part of what Beijing calls the First Island Chain, a strategic boundary that China aims to control or easily penetrate for its own military operations. The constant presence of these forces creates ongoing tension. The island of Taiwan sits at the center of many regional security concerns. Taiwan is very close to Japan, located just 110 kilometers from Japan's westernmost island of Yonaguni. If there is a military conflict over Taiwan, Japan's Ryukyu Islands would almost certainly be directly involved. Chinese officials have clearly stated they have not ruled out using force to bring Taiwan under Beijing's control, describing reunification as unavoidable. For Japan, a Chinese blockade or invasion of Taiwan would represent a very serious and direct threat. Japan relies on critical sea lanes to import the vast majority of its energy and raw materials. These vital sea routes pass through the waters near Taiwan and Japan's southern islands. If these sea lanes were disrupted or stopped during a war, Japan would face immense problems getting the necessary resources to sustain its economy and daily life. Japanese leaders have become very clear about this concern. They believe that such a situation would be a survival-threatening situation for Japan, putting the entire nation in grave danger. 4. Japan's new plan. Japan is making a new plan to protect its southern islands. These islands are very important. They stretch far into the sea, forming a long defense line. Along this line, Japan is building many new military bases. These bases are on islands like Amami Oshima, Miyako Island, and Ishigaki Island. On Yonaguni Island, there is a new base with special equipment to listen to enemy signals. Okinawa also has a new missile unit. These new bases have strong weapons. Japan uses mobile missile launchers that can move easily. These can fire 2 types of missiles, one to hit planes and another to attack ships at sea. The Type 12 anti-ship missile is very important. It can fly very far, up to 1,000 kilometers. This means it can reach many enemy ships far from Japan's coast. Japan is also getting new Tomahawk cruise missiles from the United States. These long-range missiles help Japan strike back if it is attacked. A Japanese military officer said that attacks often start from the sea, so it is important to stop enemy ships early. Japan is also getting ready to take back its islands if they are attacked. They have a special group of soldiers called the Amphibious Rapid Deployment Brigade. These soldiers train to land on islands from the sea. They use special boats and large hovercraft called LCACs. LCACs can carry tanks, vehicles, and soldiers onto beaches. A military leader, Major General Hajime Kitajima, said Japan has many islands to protect. If an island is invaded, their job is to land quickly and make it safe. Japan has also launched new support boats, like the Yoko. These boats can reach smaller islands in shallow water. Japan plans to have 10 special vessels to move soldiers and supplies around the southwestern islands. To make these plans work, Japan trains its soldiers hard. They learn old Japanese fighting skills like karate and judo. They also learn modern fighting ways from the United States military. Japan and the U.S. military often train together. These exercises, like Iron Fist, help them practice working as a team to defend islands. The United States also has a special unit on Okinawa called the 12th Marine Littoral Regiment. These U.S. Marines use portable anti-ship missiles. They help control the important sea passages between the islands. All these efforts show Japan's new plan to protect its borders and keep the region safe. 5. Paying for the military. Japan is now spending a lot more money on its military. This is the largest increase since World War II. The defense budget for the year 2025 is 8.7 trillion yen. That is about 55 billion US dollars. This amount is 9.4% more than the year before. It is the 13th year in a row that spending has gone up. If we add other costs, like for the Coast Guard, the total is nearly 9.9 trillion yen. This is about 1.8% of Japan's total economy. Japan plans to spend 2% of its economy on defense by the year 2027. This is a very big change for Japan, which for many years spent only about 1% of its economy on its military. Japan is using this money to buy new, modern weapons. They are buying better missiles, including the Type 12 missile, which can fly very far. They are also getting new, very fast missiles and Tomahawk missiles from the United States. These weapons help Japan hit targets from a distance. Japan is also putting a lot of money into cyber defense to protect its computers and networks. They are also improving how they use space for defense and getting new drone planes. The money also goes to improve many airports and seaports. The government has picked 40 civilian airports and seaports. These places will be used by the military and Coast Guard if there is an emergency. 20 of these are on the southern islands, like Okinawa. They will make runways longer, add more parking space, and make harbors deeper for military ships. This high spending is not easy for Japan. The country already has a very large debt. Japan's national debt is more than 250% of its total economy. This is one of the highest debts in the world. Paying for the military, while also having a lot of debt and an older population, is a big challenge for Japan's leaders. 6. A sad history. Okinawa is an island with a very sad past. During World War II, there was a terrible battle there. It was fought from April to June in 1945, and it lasted for 82 days. Many people died, both soldiers and civilians. About 12,000 American soldiers and over 100,000 Japanese soldiers lost their lives. But the worst part was the Okinawan civilians. Between 100,000 and 150,000 Okinawan people died. This was a very large number, almost 1/3 of everyone on the island. Japanese soldiers often used the local people as a shield. They told Okinawans that American soldiers would hurt them and sometimes force them to take their own lives. Even children were made to fight in the war. This time was very painful and created a deep wound in Okinawa's history. People on the island still remember this terrible time. Today, many Okinawans live with the memories of the war. They find bones from people who died 80 years ago. Mr. Gushiken Takamatsu works to find these remains. He says it is very foolish to start a new war when the old one still hurts so much. He worries that if there is another war, the people of Okinawa will die again. This time, we will become the remains, he said. We can't allow that to happen. Because of this history, people on Okinawa have different feelings about the new military bases. Some people feel safer. They think the bases and soldiers will protect them from danger. Local businesses also get more work and money when new bases are built or when soldiers live on the island. For these people, the military presence brings a sense of security and a little bit of money. However, many other people are very worried. They believe that having military bases makes Okinawa a target. A shop owner said, "I think we'll probably get attacked first if a new war starts." People feel that if there is a base, it will be the first place an enemy attacks. This fear comes from what happened in World War II, when Okinawa was attacked fiercely. They worry their islands will be sacrificed first again. Okinawa is a small area, only about 0.6% of Japan's land. But it has about 70% of all U.S. military bases in Japan. This makes many local people angry. They often complain about noise from military planes, crimes by soldiers, and damage to nature. Also, a lot of land is used for bases instead of for other things. The governor of Okinawa, Mr. Denny Tamaki, has spoken out against new long-range missiles coming to the island. He said these powerful weapons are more than just for defense. He believes they will make Okinawa even more likely to be attacked. The sad history of Okinawa continues to shape how its people feel about the military and the future. They want to be safe, but they also want to avoid another war on their home. 7. What other countries think. China does not like Japan's new military plans. Chinese leaders say it is a dangerous step. They think it makes the region more tense and less safe. China believes Japan should remember its past actions during World War II. Chinese officials have said that Japan's military expansion raises questions about its promise to only have a defense-focused army. Because of Japan's actions, China has sent more ships and Coast Guard vessels near islands that both countries claim. Warships have also done military exercises that seem to practice attacks on Japan's southern islands. Sometimes Chinese state news has even questioned if the Ryukyu Islands truly belong to Japan, based on old history. The United States, on the other hand, strongly supports Japan's defense changes. The two countries have a long-standing defense agreement from the 1960s. This agreement says the U.S. will help defend Japan. They are working more closely together now to deal with security challenges in the region. Japan has created a new single military command center, like the U.S. military has. This helps Japanese and American forces work better together during training and in a real situation. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin stated that America will make sure no one changes the current situation around Taiwan by force. The U.S. is also sending more modern weapons, such as F-35 fighter planes and new missiles, to be stationed in Japan. This shows the strong ties between the two nations and their shared goals for safety. Other countries in Asia are watching these changes very carefully. South Korea has worked with Japan on some security issues, even though there is still some bad feeling from Japan's past rule over Korea. Many people in both countries remember this history. Countries in Southeast Asia also remember when Japan occupied their lands during World War II. They do not often speak against Japan's new military plans in public. However, they are still worried about a stronger Japanese military in the region. At the same time, many of these same countries are also worried about China's growing military power in the South China Sea. Because of these fears, countries like the Philippines and Australia are building closer security ties with both Japan and the United States. They see these partnerships as a way to create a balance of power and keep China's influence in check. 8. The future. The people living on Japan's southern islands face a very difficult time. They are close to new military bases and powerful weapons. These islands are important for Japan's defense against threats. But the people there remember the past very well, especially the Battle of Okinawa during World War II. Many people died on their land in that war. They want to be safe now, but they worry intensely about a new war starting. They live with the fear that their homes and islands could become the first targets again. Japan's government is making big and tough decisions. They believe a stronger military will keep the country safe from danger, especially from a growing neighbor. They hope new long-range missiles and more trained soldiers will stop any country from attacking their land or their allies. This idea is called deterrence. It means building enough strength to make an enemy too afraid to start a fight, hoping to maintain peace. However, some people worry that a bigger military could make things much worse. They think it might make other countries angry or nervous, which could accidentally start a war instead of stopping one. This is a big and uncertain problem. No one knows for sure what will truly happen in the years to come. Will Japan's new military plans bring lasting peace to the region, or will they unfortunately lead to more conflict? The future of these important islands and the whole East Asian region is very unclear. An Okinawan resident, Mr. Gushiken Takamatsu, spoke about his deep fear. He said, "It is very foolish to start a new war when there are still remains from the previous war. This time, we will become the remains." His powerful words show the deep worry and concern people on the islands feel. Leaders in Japan and other countries must be very careful with their choices. The future of peace in this important part of the world depends on them. What do you think will happen in Japan's southern islands and why?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.